I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and have a PowerPoint for you. Hope that helps. Okay. Tell me if you can see my screen. Here it comes. We good?
Yep.
All right. Okay, here we go. So we're talking about positive mental health today. So there's three different subjects here, actually. Emotional intelligence you probably talked about before and heard about before, and that's about being smart with our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions, understanding ourselves and what's going on inside of us, understanding what's going on inside of other people. So it's a knowledge, it's the skill. It's the information that the science to how it works. How our emotions work and how our body works, etc. Positive mental health is how to make it work. EQ is how it works, and positive mental health is how to make it work, how to put it to use in our life, our strategies and practical applications for putting it to work in our lives. So that's what we're trying to develop, because it's emotional intelligence is very interesting, but what do I do with it? How do I make this happen? So that's the practical side of it, and the goal is peace. The goal is peace. The goal is there's a couple: inner peace inside of me, interpersonal peace between us, and social peace among us. And what we're the theory of our nonprofit is that most people don't know how to create peace. We don't talk about it. We don't learn about it. They don't know how to do it. And so how are we supposed to create peace in the world? So we're trying to start teaching peace from the inside out, starting from where it actually starts inside of us. So someday when enough of us maybe can learn how to do peace inside and around us, maybe we can have big peace. So that's the mission of our nonprofit, EQ for Peace. It's called. Good name, huh? Anyway, I like to start with this this slide because it's kind of the basics of emotional intelligence, but it's also the basics of learning anything. First off, we don't know that we don't know. We're unconsciously incompetent. We don't know that we don't know. Second is that we find out that we don't know. And a lot of people are, oh, I can't believe I didn't know that. It doesn't matter. You can skip that and go to, oh, okay, I have something now that I need to find out about and I need to learn about. So that's what we do. And you guys are doing that right now by being here in this webinar and learning more about things, about yourself, about stuff. And so we find out that we don't know, and therefore go to step 3, which is to find out how to know anything, really. We find out that, we go to webinar, we learn, we teach, or we take a class, we read, we explore inside of us, we find out how to know. And that's the next step, consciously competent. And eventually, maybe someday, it becomes a habit and we don't really have to think about it anymore. We just do it the new, better way. And that's what we call unconsciously competent. So we're working on steps 2 and 3. We're finding out some things that we don't know, and we're finding out how to know here. And awareness, this is about awareness, and awareness often is about finding out what we don't know, becoming aware of what we don't know. So inner peace. World peace starts with inner peace. There's the importance of our individual responsibility. The Dalai Lama is saying that peace must first be created within ourselves and then gradually expanded to include our families, our communities, and ultimately the whole planet. So we're working with inner peace first. So I just said this. So we start with emotional intelligence, right? We're starting with how do we work inside of us? How do we work? EQ is about the study of you and me and we. It's you studying yourself. It's what we call metacognition, thinking about what you're thinking about, and meta emotion, which I'm not sure is a real word, but it's feeling about what you feel about. It's learning how to deal with our inner world. So I like hashtags. I'm not that smart intellectually, so the hashtags kind of simplify things and sum it up. Here's one of them: get a clue, get a grip, get a life. I like that one. Anyway, so Dr. Daniel Goleman started emotional intelligence a bunch of years ago. Or at least he popularized it. I don't think he came up with the word, but his book, which I don't have a picture of, it's called Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. And he's still one of the top people in the industry. These are his 4 domains of emotional intelligence. He calls: first, you got to be aware of yourself. Okay, so first you got to be aware. I'm saying you can't do anything until you're aware. So it's mindfulness, consciousness, awareness of being able to understand what's going on inside of us. And we're not real aware. A lot of people, most people are not very aware of themselves emotionally. So self-awareness first. Second, what do I do with it? Now that I'm aware, what do I do with it? How do I manage me? How do I manage myself? And that's step 2. So become aware and then manage yourself. And then the third one is becoming aware of others. And fourth is managing your relationship with others. So it's me, you, which actually sums up to me. It's how do I handle myself and what's going on inside of me, and how do I deal with other people's thoughts and feelings? Because what we are finding, of course, is that if you think your thoughts and feelings are important, well, guess what? Other people like that too. Other people think their thoughts and feelings are important too. And if you will understand them and listen to them and appreciate what's going on for them, they really like that. They like that a lot. And you will have much better relationships if you help people, if you put some importance on your thoughts and feelings. So we got 2 sides of our brain, which you know, right? Here it is. This is our 2 sides of our brain. They're very distinct, and it's real obvious. This is a real brain and a real spinal cord. This is a fun graphic about that, saying that our left brain is mostly about our logic, our reason, our understanding, our knowledge, right? What we learn in school. Most of the stuff that we learn in school is left brain. We're a left brain society. You guys are left brain society. We work on our left brain. However, there's a whole other side to it, a whole other side. Our right brain, we don't talk much about. We don't learn much about them in school. We don't deal with them at home because our parents didn't know how to deal with them either. And it's kind of ignored. Our half of our brain is not being, it's not that it's not being used, it's that we don't know that it's being used. We don't know how to use it properly. And so that's a problem. That is a problem. So the problem is that we learn about our left brain and very little about our right brain. We're not taught about it in schools. We don't talk about it at home. We better not do emotions at work, right? So where are we supposed to learn this stuff, right? We learn from what we call the school of hard knocks, which is bam. You're like, oh my goodness, that didn't work very well. Let me try it this way. And it's a very painful way to learn. It can be effective, but often it's not, because people don't know that they're finding what they're learning about themselves, and they don't know how to deal with their emotions because they're crazy, intensive, invisible. You can't see them. So, and we don't talk about them. So, you know, it's very difficult to learn this stuff on yourself, by yourself. So I'm saying that the lack of emotional intelligence actually is one of the biggest problems in the world today. People are dying literally to know that what we know about EQ, especially with COVIDs. It used to be, EQ used to be a nice to have feeling, soft skills feeling that, or skill that we had. Now, however, it's this is coping skill. This is survival skill. This is a must have for people to get through their lives, for real. A bunch of our social problems are based on us not knowing how to deal with our emotions: violence, abuse, addictions, suicides are skyrocketing right now. I got a graphic on that. This is in India, and look at that chart. It's really bad. They're shooting up, and it's continuing to be bad, especially among young folks, because they don't know how to deal with stuff, and they think it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It's going to stay bad. I don't know how to deal with it. I can't deal with it. We tell ourselves, I can't deal with this, and boom, I'm out of here. And so it's It's a terrible, terrible problem, and it is avoidable, in my opinion. It's avoidable with some education, So, in addition, addictions, like I said, are going up. Divorces going up. Mental health issues are going up, as you probably are aware. Physical health. We've now connected our emotions. If we don't deal with our emotions well, it creates physical problems as an adult. Even stuff that happened to us as a child, if it's never dealt with or never resolved inside of our body, it becomes stress and tension in your body for long, long periods of time, and that creates physical health problems, bad physical health problems. So if you had a tough childhood and you don't deal with it, basically you're in trouble, very likely, as an adult. So warning, warning. Of course, a lot of crime and war is based on that as well. So the good news is that these are teachable skills. So it's an education issue. Aristotle said educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. I think that's a little bit severe, but you get the idea. We got to learn about both sides. And like I said, our nonprofit is trying to get emotional education into schools everywhere. And it's happening slowly, very, very slowly. It's happening quite a bit in the United States, which I'm happy to say, but we got a long ways to go. We have a long ways to go, and people are fighting it, and people are suing over it, and they're saying it's a race thing and all of it. I can't believe that you can find something wrong with teaching their emotions, but Americans manage to find something wrong with it and complain about it. That's what we're good at. So anyway, we're getting education into schools. I think it's just absolutely wrong that kids don't learn how to deal with their emotions in school. I was very disappointed with my education personally. It went all the way through. Wait a minute. I still had no idea how to deal with how to deal with my internal world. I knew lots of stuff to get a job, which is interesting and helpful, but I did not learn about me. And that's one of the things that pushes me now, is to teach people these are teachable skills. So learn about yourself. I threw this one in because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 15 job skills for 2025 in India are emotional intelligence based. In fact, one at number 7 is emotional intelligence per se. So it's kind of it affects us 24/7, 365. We are affected by emotional intelligence and about our inner world. We can't not think, and we can't not feel, and so kind of useful to learn about these. So we're talking about positive mental health now, right? Positive mental health. I guess I should have had a slide to introduce it. Positive mental health is about we can do better. All right. Mental health kind of has a negative connotation to it a lot of times, because it's about issues and problems and disorders, and those are all real. And so we do need to deal with those. In fact, if we deal with those, we can learn to do better. It's like positive psychology, you probably have heard of, because it's doing very, very well. Positive psychology was started by Dr. Martin Seligman from the University of Pennsylvania. He said, we've been doing therapy for years and years and years, hundreds and thousands of years we've been doing therapy. And the point of therapy was to get people from these problems, these issues and problems, back to normal. So basically negative back to zero. However, he said, wait a minute, why do we have to go back to normal? Why can't we do even better than that? If we learn about ourselves, we can do better. We can learn more. We can be loving and happy and resilient and peaceful and successful. We can learn more about ourselves. So positive psychology is about turning things into more positive. And then I thought, well, why doesn't that apply to mental health too? As we learn how to deal with our negatives, and they're a real thing. We can try and ignore them if you want to, but if you deal with your negatives, if you can deal with your negatives and learn how to handle like fear and anger and sadness and guilt and shame and depression and all that yucky stuff, tension, anxiety. If we can learn how to deal with all of those, we can do great. We can do great. We can become joy. We can feel joy and peace and love and resilience and perseverance and grit and cool stuff like that, that we can be more successful. If we learn about how to deal with our negatives, we can do more positive. We can have more positives. I like this quote that I found. It says, "To be the best, you must be able to handle the worst." Well, and I thought, you know what? I don't really care. I don't want to be the best. I want to be my best. I don't care if I'm better at you than you at this, because I don't want to be the best. It's not a competition, but I want to be my best. And in order for me to be my best, I must be able to handle my worst. And that's basically what I was saying, is learning how to deal with our negatives. We can have more positives. So positive mental health refers to the state of psychological and emotional well-being in which individuals are able to function optimally, cope with normal stresses of life, and contribute positively to your community. It involves the ability to think, feel, and act in ways that promote happiness, resilience, and a sense of purpose and meaning. So I was in a workshop, a conference about a month ago with Perelstein. She's one of the people I work with a lot. They're in India. She has a worldwide organization, mental health organization called Nurture Life, and they're doing mental health and suicide prevention. And anyway, she came up with this definition. I really liked it, and so giving her credit for that. So some big benefits of positive mental health. If we get good at it, there's some huge benefits. We get choices with positive mental health. We get choices. We get freedom. With choices come freedom. If you don't have any choices, you're limited and you don't have freedom. But if you have lots of choices, you're free to act and react as properly, respond rather than react. You can respond rather than react. You don't have to do it the way you were taught. You don't have to do it the way your parents treated you. You can be wise about what's going on and handle it better. And that gives you freedom, and it gives you power. It gives you power to be yourself and unique and express yourself, etc. It just gives you gives us choices, and that choices are a wonderful thing. PMH teaches us how to love, teaches us how that we can, one of our greatest skills, one of my favorite skills in emotional intelligence and positive mental health, is that our ability to open our heart as much as we want, or close it as much as we want, and close it. So if I can open myself when I want to, then I can have intimacy. I can feel alive with people. I can enjoy myself. I can risk more, like I'm doing right now, make an idiot of myself in front of you guys. And I can be open because if it doesn't go well, I can handle that. If I can handle my negatives, like I said, then I can have more positives. I can create more positive. Me personally, when I used to be very scared of people, when I used to be really shut down and quiet, and I didn't be seen or heard, because if things didn't go well, I had no idea how to handle it. I couldn't handle my negative emotions at all. And so I hid and closed down, etc. Then now that I've been learning about it and going, you know what, it works out fine, first off, and second off, if it does not work out fine, I will manage. I'll handle it. It's okay. It's okay. And so I can be open, and I can be more loving. I can reach out to people. I can talk to people first. I can open up my heart when and if I want to, which I usually do. I'm doing it right now. Or I can close my heart if I want to, if I need to, if I find it not safe. Safety is a big part of this whole thing. So it's created way more love and intimacy if you can open up your heart on purpose. That's mental health. That's positive mental health. All right. We get better results. We got study after study is showing that people get better results and are more successful if they can handle their emotions. This is not rocket science. It's pretty simple, but it's really, really, really profound and effective to, as a leader, as a team member, as a parent, as a spouse, as whatever, that you can, in every department, if you know more about yourself, you can do better. You can do better and become more successful and get better results. Pretty cool, huh? And most of this, by the way, is completely, totally free. Inside of all of us, it's an education thing. You learn about yourself, you explore yourself, and you go, okay, I can do that. And it doesn't cost anything, ever. It's pretty cool. I think it's one of the magical, there's a science to it, there's an art to it, and together they're kind of magical and not kind of. It's pretty amazing, actually. So with positive mental health, we can celebrate ourselves, we can have self-esteem, we can have self-care and self-love, we can find a purpose for living. That's pretty cool. I have a really strong purpose for living that I kind of made up as I decided that when I started learning about mental or EQ some years ago, a bunch of years ago now. I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. And I talked to my parents about it. And I said, why'd you teach this stuff? And they said, what are you talking about? How could we didn't know any of this? We didn't know any of this. There's no way we could have taught you this. You know, my dad said, you knew my dad. My dad was his dad was a tough attorney in New York City, and grew up on the streets. And he said, you think we sit around the dinner table and talk about what we're feeling? I don't think so. Anyway, so they didn't know. So they didn't teach us because they didn't know. But so now I realize that I didn't know anything about it. And then I realized that not too many other people do either. And so that's why I'm here right now, jumping up and down about it, and trying to have a real strong purpose and what we call a noble goal. It just means that it's bigger than me, and it's important, and it's gives me purpose and value to my life, and that's pretty cool. I wish that for everybody that they have as strong as I do. Anyway, so inner peace, interpersonal peace, social peace, maybe someday global peace, maybe. Teams, relationships, culture, communication, couples, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff it can be helped with positive mental health. And one of my favorite things is that you can heal stuff from the past. When you have pain and anger and sadness and trauma, even trauma from our past, we can deal with that stuff if we can deal with the negatives. And we can move some of that garbage out of our body that we're packing around with us. And our body's like, I don't want to carry this anymore. Please don't make me carry this pain anymore. I don't want to. And it starts falling apart and falling and tearing itself down. But we can heal a lot of that stuff with using positive mental health. And we can live powerfully and fully in the present. We can deal with our past. We can live better in the present, and we can create a future that we want, that works for us, for ourselves and for those we love. So major benefits, in my opinion, and almost no cost whatsoever, which is pretty cool. Okay, so I basically said that's characteristic: positive self-esteem and self-confidence, emotional resilience, ability to cope is a big deal, right? A sense of purpose, positive relationships, sense of control. That's a big deal. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, more about that, because that's a huge part of this whole thing. Good physical and self-care habits, and optimism and hope for the future. Kind of neat stuff, right? So we can do better. We can not only survive, we can thrive. We can learn to do better. We can do better. We can learn how to respond rather than react to life. A lot of times people are just reacting to what's going on, but respond means, okay, before I react right away and have it be a habitual automatic thing, I can go, wait a second, I can be intentional about this. I can do this on purpose. I can put a little thought into it before I react and run my mouth or hurt somebody or ruin my relationships or throw my anger around, that kind of stuff. I go, wait a minute, hang on. I can do better than that. So This is 6seconds.org. If you want to learn a bunch about emotional intelligence, they're the largest EQ trainer in the world. I highly suggest they're going and checking out their website. This is one of the things they say is people drive performance and emotions drive people. True, right? And so a lot of this is based on 6 seconds theories and practices. So we can do better. We can think better, we can believe better, we can feel better feelings, we can make better decisions, we can take better actions, get better results, live a better life. And studies are showing, and make more money and be happier and actually live longer, all for free. That's pretty cool, right? All right, enough selling it. You're okay. So here's one of my biggest points of this whole thing. They're yours. Your thoughts, your feelings, your decisions, your actions, all that are yours. That is really, really good news. To me, that was the best news I ever heard, is that, wait a minute, you mean I thought they made me angry? I thought these people hurt my feelings. I thought that they did it to me. That was environment, that was my parents, it was my teachers, it was my boss, it was my the economy, the government, something. They're doing this to me, and I wish they'd change so I could feel better. Well, guess what? It's not them. It's me. That's good news. It's me, because that means that I can change it. I can fix it. I can do stuff with it, that no matter what's happening outside of me, I get to have control of what happens inside of me. And that, to me, was the best news ever. Highly recommend it. So, in this whole thing, if you don't take anything away from this whole thing, what we call emotional responsibility, which means that you are in charge of you. That means that you make your thoughts, you make your feelings, and you decide how to act. And so you are in charge of you. No matter what's happening outside of you, you get to choose what happens inside of you. So here's this. I should put the slides here. This one right here. No matter what happens outside, you have the power to control what happens inside. There's so many things that happen that are not in our control, but there are some things that are very definitely in our control inside of us. Actually, control is kind of a weird word. That makes it seem like you can, all right, I'm going to tell myself what to think and tell myself what to feel, and that's what's going to happen. I'm in control of that. Well, it's not quite that. It's not quite like that, in my opinion. We can change what happens. We can modify it. We can adjust things that are going on inside of us. We can't necessarily control it all, because a lot of thoughts we have and feelings we have, they just are coming, right? They're just coming. But we can do things with them. We're not a victim of our own thoughts and feelings. We can do stuff with them. We can adjust them. And they start with our thoughts. Actually, most of our feelings, some feelings come first, but mostly thoughts come first. If we think we are safe, we're going to have happier feelings than if we think we are unsafe. Think. That's left brain. So our thoughts usually come first. According to some people, disagree with that. Some science even disagrees with that. It doesn't matter to me. It makes more sense for me that the thoughts come first. What I think is about what's going to happen or what is happening is what I'm probably going to feel about what's happening. William James said, the greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. As you think, so shall you be. Okay, so what I'm saying is, you can have a thought and you can go, wait a minute, that awareness thing that I was talking about, awareness. Wait a minute, I'm having this thought. I don't like it. I don't like that thought. That's a yucky thought. That's going to make me feel terrible. I think I'll have a different thought, and I can make a different thought on purpose, consciously, and then probably have a better feeling from it. So it's based on our thoughts. If you change your thoughts, you change your feelings, change your life, in that order, usually. So the 3 basic steps to positive mental health that we came up with, like I said, awareness first. We got to be aware first. We can't do anything until we're aware. If you don't even know what you're thinking and feeling, how can you change it? How can you improve it? So at least be aware, be mindful of what's going on inside of you. Pay attention. Most people, like I said, don't talk about feelings ever, and so they don't pay any attention to them in their body, and that's not helpful. That's not helpful. You can't be aware. You can't adjust them if you are completely denying or ignorant about your thoughts and your feelings. So awareness first, always. Second is acceptance, and acceptance is a big deal. It seems like it's not that big a deal, but it's huge. Accepting as opposed to denying and lying to yourself about it and avoiding, and you just go, hey, I'm having a thought and I'm having this feeling. Okay, it's okay. It's not that big a deal. In the United States, for some reason, people think they got to do something about it. I'm having this thought or feeling, and so I'm going to go do this and that and the other. And but that's like go shoot somebody or shoot myself or whatever. That you can have thoughts and feelings and not do anything about it. So if you can accept that they're yours and you're responsible for them, then you can take action properly or take no action. A lot of times no action is a good action, especially when strong emotions are involved. So awareness first. I'm having thoughts and feelings. Acceptance. Okay. All right. I can deal with this, and it's mine. Accepting emotional responsibility too. I can accept that I made this thought and feeling. They didn't make me do this. No one can make me feel or think or feel anything without my permission. I did that. And so if I can accept responsibility for it, okay, now it's mine. Now I can decide whether I want to do something about it or not. I can have really strong feelings and really strong thoughts and not do anything about it, not do anything, because thoughts and feelings are inside of you. That's okay. You can have as many of those as you want. But when you start doing actions, now it's outside of you, and now other people are going to get involved, and now they're going to be consequences and repercussions, very likely. So watch out for actions. That's where things get real. But awareness and acceptance helps us do better actions. We can know ourselves, manage ourselves, understand other people, manage our relationship with other people, make better decisions, take better actions, and get better results. Here's three. Again, I was talking about the hashtags. These three are fun ones that I've come up with that are helpful. The first one is awareness, right? Name it to tame it. Name it to tame it is awareness of your positive thoughts and feelings and your negative thoughts and feelings, both. And so I find it very helpful to at least be able to name what is going on for me, identify what I'm feeling. Oh, that is embarrassment. Okay, I see. I'm concerned about people finding out about this. Okay, I'm embarrassed or shameful about that. Or oh, that's an angry thought. All right, that's an angry thought. Is that what I want to go with? I don't know. Check that out. So, but sometimes naming it, at least to be able to identify what the heck you're feeling, is helpful. Just naming it by itself, because then you make sense to you. You make more sense to you. So name it to tame it is awareness. Spin it to win it is doing something about it. I can change it. If I don't like what's going on inside of me, I can change it. So I can adjust. I can spin it to win it, I call it. And then one of my favorites is feel it to heal it. There's so much of personal psychology and stuff these days, and self-growth, that talks about how to avoid your feelings and how to never have these negatives, and how to get out of them as soon as you possibly can, and that kind of thing. I'm saying one of the main ways that you can get rid of your negative feelings is to allow them, is to actually let your body feel them. To experience what's going on for yourself, and to give yourself acknowledgement and acceptance that that this is a real feeling, and let your body feel it, and your body will thank you for it, because otherwise it gets stuffed down inside. We hide it, we cram it inside of ourselves, and it causes all kinds of distress inside of our system, like I said. But if we even just for a minute, and this is not always fun, you guys, this is not fun. One of my hashtags is it ain't always fun, but it's got to get done. Sometimes the emotions are tough. It's simple what I'm talking about. For example, if you're if you released about stuff like a month ago, and man, whoa, right? And so let me just say, I'm glad that I have some emotional awareness and some positive mental health, because my wife pointed out, we went back to the funeral and stuff like that, and nobody cried in my family. Nobody cried, not once. And I'm like, oh man, I did. I did. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. And my body thanked me for it too. It's like, man, if I tried to stuff that down inside of me, all the times that I felt sad during that time and since, I'd be a mess. And otherwise, but what I can do, if I could allow myself to cry even for a minute when I'm sad, my body is like, oh, okay, thanks, all right. So I can be upset, I can be sad, I can be angry for a minute, and then let it go, and then let it go, and it dissipates out of my body. So feel it to heal it is a big part of this, because most people don't know what we're talking about. So if you could teach somebody else, it would be wonderful. They don't know. This is about acceptance. So I'm not going to go into that right now. Okay, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. What are you going to do about a problem? This is really important. A lot of times we ask ourselves, what are we going to do about that? You got a problem. What am I going to do about that? Well, about is an action. What am I going to do about a problem? For example, like the war is going on, right? And just reading some about it. And what am I going to do about that? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm trying to teach the world how to be peaceful, so I am kind of doing something about it in a long, big way. But most of the stuff, actual war of Russia and Ukraine and stuff, what am I going to do about that? I don't know if there's much I can do about that. But differentiate that with, what am I going to do with it? Okay, there's a war going on. What do I do with my thoughts and feelings about that? Or what my thoughts and feelings around that, I guess. So what am I going to do about a problem, and what am I going to do with it are a big change, a big difference. Another example, I talked to my son yesterday, and he's having all kinds of problems with his mouth, and he had cancer in his gums, and it's a mess. And it was I called him because it was his birthday, and he found out yesterday he has to have 4 more surgeries on his mouth. 4 more surgeries. Like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do about that? Well, he's going to the doctor, and he's doing what they tell him to do, and putting up with it, and wearing braces and all this stuff. And it's pretty bad for him. So what are you doing about it? Okay, he's doing some stuff about it. What do you do with it, though? This is going to be going on for months and years still. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? And that's tough one. And that's what we were talking about. And he cried a little bit, and it was, man, that's tough. But it's a big question, and it's a big issue, I guess. It's a big distinction, as what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with it inside of you? So some of the things we can do with it, we can learn how to open and close our heart. We can learn AAA is awareness, acceptance, action. We can learn how to listen to people. Listen with soul, I call it, SOUL. Soul stands for stop, open up, and listen to people. If we let people think and feel pretty freely around us without a bunch of judgment and stuff, you become really valuable to people, and you are a safe person to them, and you can allow people to think and feel, and just shut up and listen to them for a few minutes. They can express themselves, and usually they can figure stuff out on their own. We do not have to give them advice, warning, especially guys. We do not have to fix the problem. We just listen to people, and they can they'll love you for it. First off, they'll tell you some stuff that is incredible. Second off, and thirdly, they'll feel better. And they'll like being around you, and you become a safe person, and you're really important to them. So shut up and listen to people. It's really important. We can have a really strong feeling, and not have to act on it. We can deal with our emotions. They come in from outside, our thoughts and feelings, they come in from outside. We can look at them, we can identify them, we can accept them, we can become aware of them, and then we can actually feel them, we can release them, we can express them, we can let them go from our body, and we can what we call process them. They come in, we have thoughts and feelings about what's happening outside of us, we create thoughts and feelings, they're in, now they're our problem, and we can deal with them, we can process them on through and go back to being positive. We can adjust our point of view about things. We can look at the small picture or the big picture. We can change things around. These are some of the choices that we have. We can let emotions leave our body. We can release stuff. When a lot of people are, especially Americans, are angry, and then they're angry, and then they're angry some more. They're expressing all over the place, but they never let go of it. They're just stay angry, and that's not really helpful. What more helpful is to go, I'm angry about this. All right. I let that out of my body. I don't have to carry around fear and sadness and anger in my body. That's not helpful. So we can actually transform our negative feelings into positives. We can notice that we're having negative thoughts and feelings, and we can change them. We can spin it to win it. We can adjust things inside of us so we can be more positive on purpose. Call it purposeful positivity. Tried saying that 3 times fast. Purposeful positivity, but it's being positive on purpose. It doesn't mean we're not negative. We're not dealing with the negatives, because we need to deal with them, but we can also create more positives inside of us. And safety is the key to this whole thing. Safety, and it starts with safe with you, meaning you don't judge yourself, you don't cut on yourself, you don't criticize yourself or put yourself down for feeling. If you have feelings, it's okay. It's not weak, it's not bad, it's not wimpy, it's not any of that stuff. It's just a feeling. And if you can be safe for you, what's called give yourself permission to feel, then you can be safe for other people, and you can create a wonderful environment, peaceful environment inside of you and around you. Permission to Feel, by the way, is the director of the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, and it's a fantastic book. And it really is talking about that we do not give ourselves permission to feel, and that's not that doesn't work well. That does not work well. So it suggests you do that. Here we go. On purpose, adjusting your thoughts and feelings to be more positive. We call exaggerate enthusiasm, which I'm pretty good at. I can make a big deal about stuff because it's fun, because it's interesting, because it's lively, because people like it, because my body likes me to do that rather than being negative. I can exaggerate my enthusiasm and be happy and be up and being loving. And exercise optimism as opposed to pessimism. I can consciously find good stuff and be happy about it. Safety, I mentioned, make it safe for you first. Give yourself permission to feel. Find safe people. Be safe for them. Teach other people how to be safe for you. For example, like I said, a lot of people try to fix stuff and go, you know what? I don't want you to fix this right now. I'm going to tell you about something or issue, or I want to share something with you. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen. That's about teaching people how to be there for you, how to be safe for you. I don't want you fixing it, because I'll fix it. It's my problem. It's not your problem. I'll fix it. I'll deal with it. But I do want a safe place that I can vent or share or connect with you, and you actually care about what's going on with me. So connect and learn and grow together. Number one skill is empathy. We did, I run a bunch of social media groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we did a survey of what's the number one skill for emotional intelligence and positive mental health, and it by far was empathy. And that starts with empathy for yourself. It starts with empathy for you first. which means that you don't be harsh on yourself. You don't do your inner critic where you're telling yourself that you're not okay or that your emotions are not okay. It's about you accepting you first. Then you can focus on other people and have empathy for other people. You can focus on them, listen with soul. Like I said, stop, open up, and listen to people. They love that. They love that, by the way. Um, Curiosity, really? That's what you're thinking? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? What's going on? And curiosity is asking questions and suspending judgment. You don't go, what? You know what now? That's a stupid way to think or feel. That, you don't judge other people's thoughts and feelings. You suspend your judgments. If you have judgments, just keep them to yourself and skip that part and just curious. Wow, really? That's what you thought about that? That's interesting. And you don't cut on them. You speak carefully and mindfully toward other people, and you appreciate uniqueness, meaning that that's not how I would have done it, but wow, that's interesting that's what went through your mind or your heart that went there. So appreciate that they're unique and different from you, and that's okay. And you don't have to judge it. You can be difference makes interesting. It doesn't make wrong. It just makes interesting. So emotional safety is the key to this whole thing. Here's one of the things I think that one of the things that motivates me is generational trauma, it's called, which means that you don't have to, in this picture, grandpa is yelling at the dad's yelling at the kid, and they criticize and put him down and that sort of thing. And the guy in the middle is going, wait a minute, hang on. I'm not doing that to my kids or my grandkids. I'm not doing that. I'm not passing this on. So it's tough. This is tough because that's what he learned and that's what he saw. That's what seems right. But it's not, and it's tough. This, like I said, it's a lot of this is simple, but it ain't easy. It's like, oh, if you were yelled at, then don't yell at your kids. Well, that sounds easy, but it's not. It's difficult. But it's super, super, super important that we come up with better ways of handling stuff than some of our parents did for us. Teach somebody else, please. If you learn about emotional intelligence, they don't know, and they remember in the very first slide or second slide, they're emotional, they're unconsciously incompetent, which means most people don't know that they don't know about emotions, and they're not asking, and so we got to teach them without them asking for it sometimes, a lot of times. And it doesn't matter who you choose to teach, anybody, your little brother or your mom or somebody at work or somebody you're standing in line at the grocery store. Talk to them a little bit. Have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? I love that. That's a great opening line, and it makes your relationship very interesting, the conversation interesting, or deepens it. It deepens it. When you use the word emotions ever, then people start going, oh, emotions are okay with you? Okay, well, I've got some emotions. Here they come. All right. So anyway, so try to teach other people about it. Bring up the subject, and it's helpful. 5 quick takeaways from this whole thing, and then I'm done. Decide that both your thoughts and your emotions matter. That's you. That's permission to feel. We tend to deny and negate and disrespect our own thoughts and feelings, which turns out that's going to be tough on your relationships as well. But if you can allow yourself permission to feel and allow yourself to have positive feelings toward your negative feelings, which is kind of weird, then you can deal with them. Then you can deal with them so much better. So just notice that your thoughts and your emotions matter a lot more than we ever imagined. They matter a lot. Second, take responsibility and ownership for yourself and your life. Emotional responsibility, also called internal locus of control, LOCUS, locus. It means that I'm in charge of me. That's what it means. It means that I'm in charge of me. It means that no matter what happens outside, I get to be in charge of what happens inside. If you can take that leap to go, these are my thoughts and feelings, you could do some awesome things with them. If you don't, then you become a whiner, blamer, angry victim. They did it to me. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I got it rough. It's not fair. All kinds of blah, and it goes down, down, down from there. But if you go, no, they didn't do it to me. I'm doing it to me, and I can change it. I'm in charge of me. Then I can do some great things with my life. So to me, that's the tipping point, is whether you take charge of yourself or not. So highly recommend it. You don't have to, but I highly recommend it. Take time to master your thinking and feeling. Like I said, we hardly ever talk about them. We don't spend any time thinking about them. We don't work on them. And I suggest you do. A lot of people, especially things from the past, a lot of people say, that's in the past. Don't worry about it. That's already done. Just focus on the future. That's what really matters. Well, I think that there's a ton of stuff that happened to me in the past that I want to know about. I want to know how I became who I am. I want to know what happened that's still stuck in me. I want to know the emotions that I have never dealt with. I want to know the belief systems that are subconscious and unconscious for me that I'm living on, that I don't even know that I'm living on them. I don't even know what they are. And that's not cool. That makes me ignorant, and I'm missing a whole bunch of parts of me that I can't fix it if I don't know what they are. So I want to know more about myself and my past. So I have some worksheets on this. If anybody's interested, we've got some really powerful stuff that you could take what happened to you in the past and work it into how that's affecting you still in the present. And it is. But you've got to become aware of it first. So it takes some time to explore yourself inside yourself. Share with someone else. Like I said, please, anyone else. They don't know that they don't know. So you got to tell them. And lastly, build some peace, please. Let's build some peace in our lives. Like I said, if enough of us learn how to be peaceful, maybe we can have real peace someday. So that's our request and our mission. So emotions matter. Your inner world is yours. Emotional responsibility. Study yourself, study others, work on this, and consciously build peace into your life, inside and around you. So that's what I suggest. You take it away from here. It's up to you. Any questions, concerns?
Yeah, it was a fantabulous session, Mr. Matt. We thoroughly enjoyed. Spin it and win it, feel it and heal it, then name it, tame it. It was a wonderful words from you. These are the takeaways for me. Yeah, Mukundan Chari.
Mr. Matt, it is a very wonderful presentation and very timely session. Thanks for taking your time for attending on this time. So the important thing is, we are talking about awareness, acceptance, and action. When both is trained in master teaching. There is an adolescent girl. She goes to her father, mother, and grandmother, and saying that she is depressed. But she talks to her father. He says that she is depressed. Father thought that she was always stressed. So he said, "Oh my dear, I don't have money to sponsor you for the depression camp, so don't go." Then she goes to her mother. She tells her mother, "Mama, I'm getting into depression, I'm going." Mother says, "Oh, come back before your father comes to come." Ultimately, the girl knows she lost everybody, and she goes to her grandmother and he says, "Grandma, I'm going into depression." Grandmother says, "Darling, this man doesn't seem to be from your own community. Don't go with him. Go with somebody else." So the sad part is, they neither have the awareness, nor have the acceptance, nor have the action plan. So at this point of time, what you have told makes a great sense. Thank you very much for your suggestion and enlightening presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Subbarao, sir.
Thank you.
A great presentation, Matt, but a few observations. In fact, the education system of the world has really transformed. CEOs of the world, but rarely those CEOs for themselves. In fact, the conquer the master cover of the world. But what happens in the real world really is the education system of the world, like the whole of India in particular, the focus is more on revenue direction. People learn or taught about business. The irony is we customize everything in the life. We customize our dress, customize our house, customize the phone, even the pizza tolerance we customize. But the mind goes to a default setting. The result is you find being vengeful. They don't happen automatically. Little effort is being made to make sure that the best version of themselves really do come out. So unless otherwise, we make sure that the education system brings out this kind of a version of a particular person, mastering ourselves to cultivate these emotions looks like maybe as soon as we bring about a change the real people to become emotionally intelligent.
Thank you, sir.
I hear you. Yeah, this is simple, not easy, and it gets harder as we go. But it still can. We can teach old dogs new tricks.
Yeah, from iConnect Foundation, how do we handle people around us who are negative, controlling, and refuse to understand that their anger, hatred affect others? Can you answer for this, Matt? It's in chat box.
Well, in the United States, we shoot them. I'm kidding. It's not funny, actually. It's not funny. But it's so, God, Americans are so stupid sometimes. Well, first off, first is knowing that you're okay. It's them, not you, and they don't have to, whatever they're doing, you can take it or not. You can allow them to control you and be negative toward you and have it affect you or not. That's up to you. And so just knowing that is helpful in itself. Sometimes I've found it useful to ask, not tell, but ask people, are you aware? Are you trying to be negative? Are you aware that a lot of what you're saying is negative? It comes out grumpy and angry. Are you aware that hatred eats up inside of you? Hatred is very not healthy for you. If you hate other people, that's like poison. It's like carrying around poison inside of you. If you're angry, and you're that's your body gets stressed out, and the other people that you're angry about, you probably don't know that you're angry at them, and giving you up. And is that helpful? Is that how you want to do it? Is that helpful for you? That kind of thing. So ask is one of the things. Ask them if they're aware of it. If they're trying to be that way, ask them what are you really upset about. It's probably not what they're complaining about. It's probably something from their past or something big. And shut up and listen to the answer. Ask them what, and allow them to talk and to feel and think. And then go, can you, and help them adjust things and go, that's one way to look at it. I hear you, that's one way to look at it. There are other ways to look at things that don't create anger and create inside of you. It's not helpful. It's not great to be around. So, anyway, some ideas.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Matt. Yeah. Vinod Pillai, you want to interact?
Yeah, Matt, it was wonderful. The presentation, no doubt about it. But what I was just thinking is,
Correct.
I was struck by the optimism and enthusiasm that you brought in. And I hope really that the direction in which you're working is simple. Because as I see it, there actually are a lot of problems here. There are a lot of problems with corporate people. There are how many people are taking this. It is really taking us, at the most we negative approaches, very lack of being able to understand others, very, very few. So like each of these things becomes actually when it comes to practice becomes difficult. So you take somebody starting from the past, it is taken upon with such amount of enthusiasm and such clarity that I would pray that it works because we badly need it. Because in the world we live, we need solution himself, each one of us trying to grab as much for himself as possible. And then we just create momentum everywhere. But the best thing to do is to make sense. And that is so, it's a difficult thing. So I love the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, sir. From Prasad, how do you cope with leaders who do not recognize
Thank
work
you.
and are never satisfied with work done? It's in chat box.
Yeah, that's hard. Again, first is knowing that that's their problem. It's not your problem. It's their problem first. It really helps me to know that I'm in charge of me, no matter how negative they are. Talking about it. Cooking is about adjusting things inside of you. You judge for yourself whether you are doing the best you can. If you're satisfied with your own work, then you can have to give your own self quotes and positives and have empathy for yourself. Sometimes if it gets big and you get frustrated and it builds up over time, sometimes you can talk to the person about it. Sometimes you can't, or it's not a good idea, right? You just act with action or no action, keep your mouth shut. But then you maybe have these built up feelings inside of you, and you might need to go home and cry about it or scream about it. Just, I hate that. I hate that. And allow yourself to feel what you feel. Maybe the person doesn't need to hear about it. Maybe they can hear it. Maybe they can't. And they cannot or will not. And so, but you still are stuck with those emotions. And so you can deal with you. You can deal with your own negative emotions and release them from your body. You don't have to carry them around. A lot of times, people what they do is find a way to adjust from work to home. As you're going home or as you put your hand on your front door and you're walking to the house, you go, okay, I'm home now. I can let go of all of that stuff that was bothering me at work. But now I'm home and now I can be there for my kids and my family. I can let go of some of that yucky stuff that's going on inside of me. And then I'll pick it up again tomorrow or something. But for now, I don't have to live with it all day, every day, or all night either. So you mentioned about that it's work related. So it often helps to transition. That's what I was looking for. Transition from work to home and consciously go, wait a minute, I'm going to adjust this. I'm home now. That's there. That's not me, and that's not here. So you can be present with your family and with yourself when you're not at work. So again, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. And again, like I said, a lot of this stuff is really simple, but it's not easy. It ain't easy. It ain't always fun, but
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Matt. It was a wonderful session. We thoroughly enjoyed. Each one teach one. this is the takeaway of today's session. We thoroughly enjoyed. Kindly accept our gratitude on behalf of Deccan Positive Mental Health and Yellow Pond Counseling Center, International Counseling Center, Hyderabad, and 4S Creative Arts from Punjab. We thank you. Yeah, friends, we can meet next week, next Friday. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.